everyone. A couple of days ago, I got the big idea to gel print on top of the digital papers that I've been playing around with for the past couple of videos, and the results were very exciting. However, I could not find the masks that I knew that I had, and I finally did find them this morning, buried. Anyways, so I made my own. So I made masks in this video. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I make my hand-cut masks, and then I'm going to make art with those hand-cut masks and learn a few things about how to get the results that I want, because that is, I haven't nailed that at all. But do it. Join me and stuff like that. Bye.
So I was going to do this off camera, but I can do it on camera. I just don't know if it's going to be interesting to watch. So I need masks because I've got this vision in my mind of the type of painting that both Judy Woods and Anna Carl do over their collage work, which is blocking things out. And I don't have really the imagination to figure out how to block things out. But I've got a couple of manila folders here. And I'll just show you a little bit of chaos right here. This is just a bunch of masks that I've made out of materials that are very difficult to work with. This particular mask I made, let me make it so you can see it. I made this out of manila envelopes, folders. And I did have to reinforce it with some paint and stuff, but it doesn't change the function or anything like that. So what I'm planning on doing is I would like to remake some of the masks that I have on material that I find difficult to work with. You know, like any of the very thin, this stuff, what happens to it is the paint coats it, and then when you put them away, it sticks to each other and you end up with this really raggedy background. I don't want that. I want things that cover. I want to reveal things. So like I said, I don't know, this is probably going to be really boring. Maybe I can think of a story to tell or something, do a voiceover or something, I don't know. But right now what I want to do is inventory what I have so that I can figure out what I need. So this is probably definitely going to be boring, but that's the plan. I know I would love to make something like this, but I'm going to have my friend make it out of Mylar. I think these kinds of things. This is just a piece of paper folded and folded and folded again, and then I clip, 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 clip all the way around. And then when you open it up, you end up with this really, really interesting overlay. So I'm going to ask my friend Cindy to make that. But what I want right now, I really like these shapes. But they are, see this? See all this paint sticking to it? It's a pain. It's a pain in my butt. So those are going to definitely be redone. And I don't need to do those. Those I'll draw off camera. I'll draw a little bit on camera and then a little bit off camera. These are tea bag boxes, tea bag boxes in different shapes and stuff like that. Things that I've cut out from other things that I would like to possibly tape together, because what I've got down at the bottom layer here, if I can get through all this stuff, is things I've just taped together. I don't know how they're going to read, but I like the idea of covering most of something up. This is what I haven't been able to get in my last gel print video. I want to cover most of it and reveal some of it. I have the opposite with stencils. Stencils have a tendency to reveal most of it, or at least the ones I have. So I've got all these unusual, you can't really see these. This is not really a worthy exercise. But I've got these things that I think will make interesting shapes on things, and I want to make more. So that's the plan. Okay, I'm going to go quiet because it's much easier to edit if I can just fade through and not have to worry about whether or not I'm saying something very important. I'm going to jump in with a little bit of volume here now. These little random shapes, just so you know, when you first start painting on cereal boxes or tea bag boxes or whatever, and you've just got raw cardboard, it's not going to leave much of a ghost print behind. You need to coat these with a fair amount of paint from gel printing with them before they become like this, and then they start to leave ghost behind. So that's just a thing to think about. So what I'm just going to play around with right now is I've just got some random strips, shapes that I might try playing around with, maybe some sort of vertical thing. I'll tape it together on the sides, and I'm really just looking for a way to make these layouts just a little bit more. You know, here's letters cut out of different things, but right now I just mostly just want to play with vertical. And I will alternate, depending upon no particular reason, between using, you know, whatever tape I have, because it doesn't matter. It does leave an impression, but I'm definitely not trying to do anything fancy in terms of line quality or anything like that. But I think that these will give me some nice irregular lines with this direction I'm having fun with. I wasn't expecting to do this, but I am going to print. I'm going to gel print using some of these things that I just created on these papers that I used recently. And this is just a random selection of experiments and, oh, even some gel prints on the bottom. All digital papers that I've been trying to work with and trying to make happy together. For simplicity's sake, I'm going to limit my colors to Payne's Gray. This is a Nova color. This is a total experiment because this is house paint. This is bare, ultra pure white. I want to find out if it's more opaque. We'll find out. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow ochre in there because of surprise. And I'm going to stick with the same colors that I worked with recently. So I've got black and white and ochre and teal. This is interesting because I can lay that right down on top of it and get big windows from what I cut out. I wish that big giant one wasn't there, but I can move things up. Anyways, I can do that. And I also can lay down shapes, which is going to be a little bit more work. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, I'm going to just start with this white because I haven't used it for paint yet. I bought a quart. Did I cut the end of this off, or is this still brand new? This is still brand new. Hold on. Cut a big giant hole. I could have done a little bit more careful than that. Well, we'll find out. I don't even know if this is a little bit of paint or a lot of paint. Looks pretty opaque. over there. Let me get something fairly... I'm going to just use this because I don't want to agonize over it. Oh, look at this is lacing, but I forgot that I actually cleaned this gel plate the other day with some baby oil. So let's just do this just to see what happens. I've used house paint because Anna Carl, who I am highly motivated to emulate, she uses house paint. But I'm using, this is Bear house paint, and Bear and several other brands are latex. No. They are acrylic. So remember when I mentioned that it's going to take a while to sop up the paint? So this is an example. You can see that there's not very much left on here. So that would have been better if I had put something, one of these shapes in the middle. But let me try that again because that was not wrong. Look, I'm wandering around all lost and everything. I'm so confused because I'm supposed to do board things today, but I don't want to. So I'm doing not board things. Let's try this because it's dark. And let's try just laying some of these little guys over, which is, they're a pain in the neck because you got to pull them all off. But you get a very wonky look by doing it this way. It's not very predictable looking. Just put that right there. And then we'll go over on this. Candle holder. One of my favorite things that I've been using is a Baron because it feels nice in the hand. It's cool. Let's see what happens under here. Ooh. Okay, that's a happy little thing. Okay, yeah, that's okay. Let me pull up the rest of this white and see if there's, I don't think there's going to be anything really left underneath it because this is brand new manila folder. It absorbs everything. Get that off. Yeah, see, it pulls the paint right off. It's okay, you can train it. Teach yourself to make a whole bunch of collages using these things. Okay, I'm going to do that again. Let's see what I got down here that's dark. Sure, I'll try you. This is actually quite a bit of paint, which gives me a squishy look I don't enjoy. Hey, give me something ugly to put paint over. So let's try that again. Maybe I could find some things to put in the middle. So I don't have those big holes. Let's try that and none of those because this is going to go too fast. Get it on there, girl. All right, hold on. Well, go with what you have. You know what I haven't discovered yet? Very fun. I wish I could get it without that. It's because I'm using a paint that I'm not really familiar with. I think I'm using too much. But I really, really like what happens when you partially hide. That's not what I had in mind, but that don't make it wrong. Let's try something over light and see what happens with, here, get that off. I don't know if this is going to pull like, it's acrylic paint, so it should pull just like Liquitex, but I'm going to let this sit on here for a minute and I'll be back. Okay, let's do some panes, a little bit of yellow ochre, just to make it not look like it just came out of a jar. Yeah, that's not gonna modify the color at all. And I'm just gonna add that on there, raggedy-like. Find a place to wipe it off. For simplicity's sake, I'm going to go with those over this, which I don't even know if I showed it to you. It was sitting on the top. It's got a little leaf on it. So what this does, takes me a while to get my head around the mask versus stencil. All right, let me go to talk this out. When you put a stencil on, it leaves shapes on your paper. The holes get filled with paint. I know this. This is intellectually, I totally know this. But the difference is these are windows. I like windows better. These are windows. I'm gonna go for more window. Right on top of this with a little bit of teal. That's kind of a lot of teal. And some house paint white. Ooh, oh, sure. And I can't even put that back in because it's way too much of it. This is kind of lightish. All right, cover this all up because you got so much paint. You got to get rid of some of it. I'm going to do windows. I don't have anything small enough to put in the middle of that without covering it up. So this is going in. This is actually kind of fun, guys. I wasn't expecting to paint. I just wanted to make some masks. But then once you have them, you want to know what they do. I wish I had made that one hole so big, but I can put something in there. Windows. I have created windows, and even though I didn't love what I had before, how interesting it is behind, and there's still enough of my original piece of art shining through. Let me try to see if there's anything underneath it. I don't think there will be, but it takes a second. Look at the I like it. I really, really like it. All right. I'm going to keep going this way for a little while on some different kinds of papers and see what I get. Let's see. Yeah, that's... I do prefer it when I don't paint to the edges, though. Yeah, I do prefer that. Okay. Although when I roll off on my digital paper, I like them just as well. What if I do... I'm just going to leave that there. I'm going to do Payne's Gray, and I'll have to put a lot... Ooh! Okay, we got yellow ochre, guys. But it does turn into an interesting... Not when you use so much Payne's Gray. People have expressed concern that I wear this white sweater while I'm painting. But it's my house sweater. I have a whole wardrobe of house sweaters. Because when I'm home, I'm not dressed. I am not ready for prime time when I'm home alone. I want to hang out in my whatever's comfortable. Generally, whatever I put on as soon as I woke up, which is yoga pants. Can something fit in there? Let's do it. Okay, I'm going in with this. Well, if these papers, if I can find a way to make these papers work together, I would like to work with this combination. I'd like to see about a collage. Ratty because I left the snarly unfinished thing on the edge, but it's windows that I look at this little window. So freaking cute. All right. How about just do this? Do that or do this? Do this. Do that on here. And I'll leave it. I'll leave it while I go make a cup of tea. I turned the camera on before I pulled it, but look at this pretty thing. This is fun. Okay. Now what I'd like to try, I'm going to set aside these new things. I'm going to do this off camera. And then I'm going to play with some of those big ones, those big odd-shaped ones. The rest of the house paint from the last scoop. All right. I'm going to take this dark thing and grab the first stencil that I put my hands on. Stencil, mask, we'll find out if they're windows or, oh, that's a little pretty thing. Hi, little vase. Some of these papers are from my sketchbook rather than them going in between the pages and staying there forever. You guys can play with them. Look at this corner here. Isn't that pretty? Yeah, that was very fun. Labor of love. Hours and hours I'd spend drawing these pictures. Oh, that just makes me wicked happy. That is this. Oh, this is freaking awesome. Okay, I'm gonna do the opposite here. I'll use another part of this. Sure. And this is just the sheet I've been pulling all the scraps off with, so it's probably pretty grungy under there. Not nearly as exciting as the other one. What made the other one so exciting? The other one made something so exciting because this dark looks like shapes on top. This, yeah. And you know what? All these other colors showing through, so just trying to learn. Because for some reason, I have not mastered the art of gel printing. Here, this is a scrappy looking thing. Let's put that, pull up that area. I printed this one 3 times. I think I thought I was changing the color, but the color change was imperceptible. Okay, definitely scrappy looking. I'm going to let this dry for a minute, and then I'm going to try putting something over it. Like what, Cherie? I'm going to go with white again, because it's my favorite. I'm just going to go right over this with a different shape that I just made. Let's try that one. See what happens. see what happens here. Okay, that is too angular for my eye. That way, but perhaps I could try it the landscape way. White again, going over these spirit beings with, where did I put them? I found these. These are, what's interesting about these is these have very unexpected kind of shape. So let's do that. I don't know, in that. Let's find out. Spirit beings, meet your decorator. I want to resist the urge to just roll this paint out. I don't care for that. I think they call it dendritic or something like that. What would happen if I did that? Nothing. Okay. Not as interesting as earlier because of the monochromatic nature of what's there. What if I leave those there and do something strange? Like, what about this? This is also house paint. I don't remember the color. Am I going to regret doing this? Just do it. Just wondering about picking up these stencils and stuff. Let's see if I do that. Might wreck it. Could be a fantastic surprise. Could also be, in a stronger color. Okay, what if I, this has possibilities. I'm going to pull this up on this black and white thing. Maybe it'll subdue it a little bit. I've been trying very hard to work it into a design because I think it's really fun to look at. I ended up scaling it down and putting it in with the first package called, I don't know, something like Botanical Neutrals. It's got the big vintage botanical things on it. Okay, so that cleaned that off, and that subdued that somewhat. Maybe it's time to put something over on this. I keep thinking the color pink or red. I'm too timid to do it. So I'm going to stick with what I have. This is too wet. I'm doing it. I'm just going to, here. Because I have it, and I have this. And the tricky thing about experiments like that, where you're really not paying attention to what you're doing, which is that's my definite way of gel printing, is that if it's remarkable, you can't even begin to figure out how to recreate it. Now, this paint that I just put down is kind of semi-transparent, so okay, the colors are wrong, and the placement is too much in the middle, but you know what? That's starting to look interesting to my eye. This just came up. Do I have a mask that would do that justice? I'm going to try that. Mostly just because it's there. Trying to go a little bit leaner on the white. Maybe they'll be looking out the window. No, the window is covering their faces. because I still can't get my head around how this works. So funny. Okay, that's pretty. Okay, bye, spirit people. You guys are goners. Gonna pull that off on this black and white again. Okay, maybe what I'll do now is go back to those original masks that I just made. See if I can't shake them up a bit. That's eventually going to be very pretty to cover up. How about if we cover it up right now? So what it needs is contrast. See this? If this had been black or any other kind of dark color on top of this, these have no contrast, but I can cover everything up. All right. So let me take one that's not hard to do at all. There's that. The darkest thing I have to go over it is Payne's Gray. But I could add a little bit of white to it. No, this isn't going to work. I'm going to have to pick a different sheet. Do that. No, that's very repetitive. I'm not confident, but I'm going to try it. That and this, for reasons I can't explain. That's fun. Can I pull some of it off on here? Sucking up all the paint, and it will for a long time. Oh, see, I'm getting closer with these. These have been around for a while. They've been used. Let's pull it up. It's not enough to do anything with. Now, if I put something on top of this, what would it be? Let me set that aside for a minute, because it's still pretty. And these two, go over this with Payne's. Use the, where's my little vases? Yeah, these are more work to place, but I like the look better, I believe. Okay, it's going over this because I don't know what else to do. Oh, interesting. Look, you can still see the shape of the shapes. That's cool. I don't love the colorway, but I like what it just did. Let me get up. Let me just take this off. Take these off. I want to do it again on the other one, probably with the same colors. On top of this. Yeah, I don't like the way that peach reads with, it's, I think alone it might be a pretty color, but I don't see it. It doesn't work with my color layering. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, that's just as boring visually as this, which tells me get some other colors in there. This monochrome stuff, it may be safe, but it is boring. Okay, I'm going to just pull that up on this because why not? I can print this page as many times as I want to. Same thing for you guys. You get the package, you just run out of a sheet, you just reprint the sheet. And because I'm the designer behind it, you're going to find that a lot of my colors work together in between packages. I've got a color sense that's specific to me, but don't we all? Don't we kind of all? It's too late in the process to do this, but I just pulled out some yellow ochre because the yellow ochre that I have is too watered down, too thin. But it at least will give me, it'll loosen this up a little bit. I'm trying to get this to be a little bit more green. It's got too much Payne's gray in it, but you can see it's coming out. It's starting to come out. Maybe I can leave this on my brayer for the next go round. This has got very linear stuff. I want to make it more, that's going to be too dirty to go on there. Let's do this. Let's take this organic thing, see what happens. I probably say that. Ooh, this has got a lot of paint on it, sure-y. Probably say that a lot. I guess if you watch a lot of my videos, you almost know what's going to come out of my mouth next. Wrong color entirely. And I don't know how to diagnose it, but not, am I just going to wreck something? How about if I, here, pull that off on this. This can't get worse. Maybe those colors will be happy together. Could you make this worse? Yeah, don't do it with the teal. Do it on top of this. This is mostly white. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, shall we? Very dirty. So not a good color choice. This won't mind that color. I don't think. Nope, it doesn't mind it at all. Oh, that had just enough of another color on it to look really pretty. Where's the long skinny one? I like it. Sure. Going in. Can't get worse. Well, sometimes they do get worse. But I have to tell you, some of my ugliest, specifically when I was working with my friend Cindy, we were using watercolor paper, stencils, and distressed oxide paints from Tim Holtz. And, oh, well, that makes me happy. This is very 60s looking fun thing. Not wrong. Okay. Yeah. Some of the stuff that I would make, I would be so embarrassed by it. I didn't even want Cindy to see it. She's not judgmental at all. It was really, really bad. And then I'd make a couple of last ditch attempts because what could possibly go wrong? And absolutely nothing went wrong. Everything went right. I'm going over this. Even though I'm all precious about this. I think this is pretty. I'm going to leave it alone for a minute. And I'm precious about this too, so I'm just going to leave that alone. Hold on. I'm going to try something I've never done before. I want to get a little bit of yellow and white, but in different areas. That's never been something I've done before. I don't know how that's going to go. Then it goes like this. Ooh. All right. Iwaya. I wanted to get something else on that because it's so monochromatic and boring. I don't think this is going to make a difference, but I'll tuck it on there anyways. All right, here we go. Somebody mentioned in the comments recently that they miss my telling stories about my life. Oh, well, that makes me happy. That has some interesting things in it, and that two-color thing is not wrong. Here, let me take this off, and then I'll pull up the rest, because it's already got kind of that yellowy, dirty color in it. That is, that's not wrong. All right, let's go over. Does it matter? Don't, it doesn't matter, just, yeah. I actually think that sometimes you get better results when you're not trying to accomplish something, because I don't know if you've noticed it, but you really can't accomplish much planned for gel printing. That's very grungy looking, but I have high hopes for it because I'd like to look at this thing again that I thought was so hopeless. Let's do something similar to this guy, which is a dab of you and a squirt of you. Well, that's not terrible, even though it's as thick as a piece of wallpaper. Okay, this needs to be not swirly birds. It needs, why don't I wonder why I never do this when I am, before I roll everything out. I wonder why I don't do that. Just do it. Try it. See what happens. I'm never prepared. Well, everybody's got a way of being, right? I've given up fighting mine. We were talking about this the other day. You know, I'm 70. I just had my birthday. I'm 71 now. Not as successful, but I do like that ombre. Okay, what am I going to put that ombre on? This has already gone as far as it can go. Let's give it some more. Let's flip it upside down this time. And we were talking about, as one of the women said, we were sitting at a restaurant at the corner of the bar, and the woman said, I don't know, the older I get, the less I give a shit. And we both started laughing because, you know, how they'll say things about women of a certain age letting themselves go. This is really interesting to my eye. Yeah, women of a certain age letting themselves go. What happens to us guys, we're not letting ourselves go, okay? What we are is tired of being, I don't know, being self-conscious about how we look. We just want to be ourselves. We want to wear what we want to wear. You know, I still try to put a little bit of energy into, you know, when I go out, I put a little bit of energy into it because I don't leave the house very often, so it's a big occasion. But I will go out in public with certain people, not everybody, without makeup on, which is just so not how I used to be. I was one of those, everything had to be perfect. Everything had to be the fingernails and the frickin' hair. And if I was having a bad hair day, I was having a bad day. And yeah, this or this. This. So I'll go to the grocery store, and I look like a lot of the women I used to judge in the grocery store. But I get it now. I'm capable of fixing myself up and looking pretty good for my age. But, ooh, oh, I really like the addition of the yellow in this. This is making me happy. I really like being able to just be who I am without, because I don't think I ever got really dressed up for anybody. I got dressed up for everybody else, not for me. That's pretty. All right. Maybe I can, where's that? Did I already use that black one? Where is that? Yeah, I guess it's gone. The one with the black leaves. Let me just, I don't think I'm going to be able to get that off with any of these, so let me just pull what I can with this really sopped sheet. I don't know if it's going to grab anything. Maybe it will because it's like. All right, I got that off there. That's going to end up being something that I care about. Okay. On top of this, yellow, but not as much. White, a little more. A drop of water on the yellow because it's so thick compared to the white. And it's probably too much liquid. You know, yeah, that was overkill, but it's all right. I'm going in with organic shapes over the straight shapes. Yep, the other one is definitely easier to use, but this is far more interesting. I thought the white might make the yellow a little more solid. Very squishy. Okay. Do I let that? That's a lot of paint. And I still have a shit ton of it on my brayer. So I'm going to take it off with this. The piece of paper I was looking for. That's not dark enough. I think I'm going to roll that out. Hold on. Yeah, it's just too squishy. And that'll make an interesting background. All right, let's get this. Same difference. Squishy. What did I do? I added water. Don't do that again. When I was young, we lived in a neighborhood. It was the first house that we lived in that had running water and flushing toilets, because the first house I remember as a kid, we had an outhouse and my father had to haul water. My parents were very young. My mom was 20 when she had me, and just barely. Why am I telling you this story? Well, I know that she'd be horrified by my telling you this story because she was embarrassed by it. And I said, I don't think you should be embarrassed about that. You're like a pioneer woman. You know, that's what mothers do. We figure out a way to make it happen. All right. These need to dry because I don't think they're going to pick up any paint, but I want to put dark over those. Let's try for a little bit of, ooh, I think this is yummy. That needs love too. All right, I'm having fun here. Okay, this I'm going to do white over, and I'm going to try to not put it on so thick, because this is house paint, so it's not really acting the way I'm expecting it to. Yeah, she'd be horrified. I said, you know, you're a pioneer woman. You don't need to be embarrassed about how you started at all. But there was a point to this story that I have completely lost. But here, just forget about that story and let's see what happens to this, shall we? I do remember while we were waiting, the first house that we moved into that had toilets and everything, we used to say all the time, let's talk about our new house. Well, that's a pretty thing. Okay, these are actually fun. That's a pretty thing. Just pull. Make an effort on that. That's got some possibilities. This, on the other hand, is not awesome. I would say, let's talk about our new house. I was in first grade when we moved there. The whole neighborhood was a construction site. And I met my neighbors, Joni and Linda. They were my friends for pretty much until we got to high school, and then, you know, we went different ways and stuff like that. Okay, where are you going to go, my friend? How about just on top of this? It doesn't have any friends with it. So when we moved into that new house, it was a nice little hip roof ranch. It had hardwood floors in every room because that's what they did back then. And my brother had never seen a toilet that flushed. So he used to flush it pretty much every day, all day. That was like his thing. He'd flush the toilet. My mother'd have to try to lock him out of the bathroom because he's running our water bill up. Okay, let's see what we got. This is my roll-off sheet. It's quite heavy. All right. Dark is going to go over here. And I'm going to do just panes. I'm going to use these same vase-like things. It takes me about, 45 minutes to warm up so that I'm actually not frightening myself or embarrassing myself. Okay, here we go. Yeah, yes. Here, let's get this off. Too solidly ochre, and I wish I'm not painting right up to the edges. I'd like to try this. Maybe I'll try it in sections. Paint hardly sticks to this at all because it's so many layers. This just popped into my mind. So you guys know I've been working on designing digital paper packs for sale so that you guys can use my art in your art. And any of you who've been on my channel for a while know that almost 14 years ago, I lost my son, Neil. He went out in a blaze of glory on his motorcycle and never saw him again. It's very weird, very confusing, very life-changing. And it took me a while in the grief process to reach for art because, to be honest with you, it just didn't occur to me. And I had a woman that I knew, she was our bookkeeper at one time, reached out to me and said, you should try art therapy. Make art around your son. I think you'll find it healing. And I did it a lot. The point that I'm trying to make is that not on every, but on many papers, my son is tucked in there. This area here is very pretty. I would like to leave, all right, so what I'm learning from this is leave more of the background. Don't cover it all up. Yeah, he's tucked in there. He usually looks like an angel. And sometimes he gets cropped out, not on purpose or by design, just, you know, because the piece of paper needed it that way. But you will find him. You will find my beautiful boy. And he will keep an eye on you because I have entrusted him with people I care about to keep an eye on them. And if nothing else, let me know if they need me. Okay. This is going to want white over it. This is going to get dark. Is it? Is it really? Is it just going to be left alone? I've got a bunch of more papers, but I don't have a bunch more energy. I'm really having a hankering for some food. All right. So maybe what I'll do is, maybe I'll wind down. I think this is a good place to stop. That looks very cool. I'll pull that up with some white paint just to clean the gel plate. So let me dig out. Let me dig out what I've done. We'll take a look at it. Okay. I have a pile in different stages of completeness. And they're not, pardon me, they're not in any order. So the problem with having not a good variety of masks is that you end up making, you know, very similar things. But these have enough difference in them. I'm very entertained. So see what I did here? See how there's very little paint up the front and that frame stays true? This is one of the first ones. I could draw on this. Maybe I'll even do that while I'm sitting on my chair listening to videos. I like the design underneath showing. Not in every case, though. Some of these are very pretty, and they're more, it's not that they're more interesting than their digital counterpoints, but they're just interesting, and that's not very happy. Yeah, that's not happy either. I do like the contrast on that. I was going to paint over it, but I couldn't make myself do it. Overdid it on the ochre. Remember, I was just getting a little bit of it at the beginning, and now I've gone hog wild, and that's that sheet that's probably got 20 layers of paint on it. Okay, so I'm going to call it. I'm going to say thank you for hanging out with me today and watching me get back into, that's very pretty. Watching me get back into gel printing, because I've been away from it for quite a long time, and I've gotten, you know, lost on this new project. But this is a combination of two things that I really like, and I just have to figure out how to integrate it into one thing that I really like. Okay, thanks so much. See ya. Bye.